Rich here. Sorry that this video is coming so late. I really do apologize. You're probably like pulling your hair out, saying you're going to walk into this classroom not knowing what's going on. Don't worry, it's not. The students are actually pretty far along individually. They caught on this quarter, so um, I just need you to kind of just be there for reinforcement of aesthetics, the photos that you're using in the background. The sites are basically an extension of the project you do in 4100, where they create a landing page. But it's like, if you think about it, it's actually a bunch of landing pages stacked on top of each other. Um, basically, what's happening is that in Muse, the layout looks something similar to this. They're gonna have a main heading section that they're gonna be working with. Um, that has their branding, their heading, subheading, and some type of call to action. And then as they scroll, you're going to get to an about section of some sort. A services, a skills section, portfolio section, and a contact section. Actually, in my window right here, my contact section is actually pushed down a little bit. Let me move this up. So basically, I went through an overview. They've done now. They went through basically tips and tricks with me and a little tutorial in my last class, and I gave them a goal of trying the program out, moving things around, pushing things around, going through things, figuring out how to do things, and basically I wanted them to try to figure out the trial and error of the program with adding their designs into it. So as far as design elements goes, what they have is they have background images, background colors, and then they also have the text that goes on top. They've also messed around with some fonts and trying to figure out what goes well together visually. So what I think class is going to be consistent of is kind of going through and seeing if their design choices, if their visual choices work well. If the image that they've chosen for the background translate what they're trying to speak, or if the text is good, the size, the placement makes sense. Um, the optimum placement of stuff, just so you know, for the type of websites we're building, is centered like this. I'm going to open this site here in the browser so you can see this site functioning. So you can also see, the site, the type of site that they're building. They're building what's called a one-page layout. So as you scroll, you're delivered the information, which is what makes it essentially a bunch of landing pages stacked on top of each other. So if I open this full screen, what you see is when my screen loads, I have my branding and my background image. And as I scroll, I get my about section. My navigation also pops up here. Then I get my services and skills, my portfolio, and my contact, where you can enter your name and things like that. Um, so and then my branding here in my footer. So as you scroll through, I'm delivered all of my information in one place with one simple scroll. Everything, all the actions happen here. The only thing that separates itself into a new page is my portfolio section. And my portfolio is broken up into different categories, and also I can have my portfolio take me somewhere else to another page that was built for to house my projects, and it's loading here. And then on my projects page, I get basically a repeat of the one page layout. So they have gone in, tried to add their branding. I've given them this particular template that you're looking at, and they are using it, manipulating it to go with the design. So now I know you don't know the ins and outs of Muse, but I would like you to advise them on the design. And even if it's taking them away from Muse and letting them rework their ideas in Photoshop, those are ideas that I can always come back with the technicalities of Muse and give them how to bring the proper design elements into Muse. Um, so the one thing I caution is we don't have free reign with fonts. With the web, you do have web fonts that are considered able to be read by browsers. And Muse gives you the ability to search through a library of web fonts. I've told the students on how to get to these web fonts, but I'll give you a direction to that. It's under File, Add or Remove Web Fonts. So File, Add or Remove Web Fonts. Once you go there, it tells you here, you have the ability to look at Wedge web fonts and Typekit. What these are a library of web fonts that can be installed in Muse for use on the Muse websites. So there's another process if you get a font from a different library or from your computer to make it work with the website. But this is where I've directed them for their font choices. So design-wise, you can also do things like design in Photoshop and then find a similar font here in Muse. Or not saying that it's impossible to go from a font that's installed in Photoshop to the website. There's just about like 3 more steps that I haven't explained to them yet. So that's just one thing to caution on when you're using fonts with the design aesthetic and things like that. But yeah, they're going to come to class potentially with questions on, I'm not sure how to do this, or how do I do that. If you could make notes for me on what their questions are, or have the students in class notate or write me an email in class about what the questions are. That'll help me have it on record, and then what I can do, and then send it to me in class, because a lot of times they don't send it to me. That'll help me answer their questions before next class, and then I can go ahead and take care of that. But I wanted to show you the Muse interface. This is what it looks like. We have different screen sizes available to you here. We have to design for each screen size. Now these are screen sizes that go across different devices, so your computer, your phone, and things like that. So as far as the class goes, I gave them this lecture on this stuff last week, and their homework was to learn more, delve in, and try to design within Muse. So to recap, if you could go through with them their design choices, what's working, what maybe not be working, what to rethink, and also take their questions and have them actively send me the questions. I am going to be on, potentially be able to be around, I think it's going to be like around 10:30 here, like 10:30, 12:30. I might be running around setting up an event. But I'm going to be paying attention to the questions that are coming through, and if there's anything that I'm like, I can answer that, I'll definitely make an attempt to hop on, potentially shoot you a text message and say, hey, I can probably answer that for them so they can keep moving. So yeah, so just have them send me the questions and really revisit their design choices, because as much as these sites need to work, I want them to be aesthetically pleasing and visually translate what they're trying to do. So I do think they need a little refresher of what works. How do you couple imagery with text? Because that's really what we're doing. Aside from the technical side of these websites, what we're doing is visually designing. So it really connects a lot to 4100. We want it to be understood, the message that they're trying, the story they're trying to tell with their about section, and with their what projects, what skill sets are they trying to show the world when they go into the workforce. We want to make sure that we're giving enough information, we're not giving too much information, and we're being something that doesn't get misunderstood, so that when they do go to use these sites for professional purposes, the job that they're showing these have a quick understanding of who they are, what they do, and what they're really good at, and what they've mastered, and their aesthetic as well. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that gives some clarity to what's going to happen tomorrow. And hopefully you have time to watch this video. I know it's coming over late. I'm going to shoot you a text when I send it to you. Yeah, let me know if there's any questions. I will take your call at any time, as early in the morning or as late at night, to answer any questions that you have for this. Yep, that's it. All right. Thanks, Liz. I will talk to you soon.